Nice.
We're going to start off. For the observant people amongst us, they will have noticed that I'm joined by somebody different today, which is good. Niklas, you went on a stream, you said some things, and people had opinions, and now we're lucky enough to have you sitting here.
Yes. It's good that, maybe not always good that I say things, but it's good that people have opinions and that people care.
That's true. Today we've got some questions that have come from the propaganda commanders. You're kind enough to answer those. And we've got some questions that we've found from the community. So spicy. So I think without further ado, we're going to dive right into things with our first question here from Red Monster Thing. They ask, since you are the buff diver, can you buff the variable's durable damage and maybe slightly buff its ergonomics? I've specifically noticed a trend with the light pen guns having higher durable damage lately and better weapon handling. I understand that the variable is missing, is a massive gun, so the ergonomics being slow feels somewhat justified, but I still want a smoother experience for my gun. Also, for research purposes, what you think is the most balanced gun? It would help me get a better idea of what you guys and the team think about where the balance should be.
Oh, that's a tricky question. So, for the durable damage of the variable, I will say, fair point. I should have brought post-its.
I can make notes for you.
Good. I think that's a fair point. I think there are a few guns that we'll probably need to have a look at. And the variable is definitely one of them. When it comes to the most balanced gun, probably now I forgot the name of it. Or I know the dev name of it.
The name will be added. But that is the gun that is the most balanced. What makes it so balanced?
It has some clunkiness to it, and if you master the weapon, there's a good payoff at the end. It is usable enough if you're if you just pick it up. It just feels good straight off the bat. But when you master it, it has like a good amount of depth and very nice like visceral feeling to it, because it has to feel good to use. It has to be easy to pick up and start having fun with, and it has to have like a good mastery ceiling. So I think that those are like some of the components to make something a good, balanced and nice experience.
Thank you, Niklas. We're going to move on. Our next question comes from Demo Storm. Any chance we get improvements to the Galactic map to explain gambits or best opportunity to dive planets, MO or no MO? It seems like a lot of people don't know what is really going on without outside information from one of the apps, and would be super helpful to have our own Joan of Helldivers to your Joel of Destruction explaining some of the numbers work would also be great, as I know a few of us can't figure out if it's best to A, do everything in difficulty 10, or B, speedrun the main and get out actually best min-max.
Good question. It is something we have talked a lot about here in Arrowhead. I guess the simple answer is yes, we want to improve it. We have a bunch of ideas, but the community's apps and pages for this are surprisingly good. They've done a good job. And we want to catch up to that, and eventually also deepen that type of gameplay and understanding. But I will say that it will probably take some time. We don't have an abundance of capacity to expand on those features while also supporting all the stuff we are doing in the future, and just the cleaning house that we're doing now of just like fixing all the bugs, etc. So yes, eventually, but we want to.
Great to hear. Demo Storm goes on to ask, any thought into looking into improving or changing some of the older weaponry? Warbonds, I know, are a great way to introduce new stuff, but I think introducing new mechanics to what we have also goes a long way, i.e. grenade launcher having different rounds or stratagem customization in general.
So there's a bunch of questions in that. So going back, we have gone back many times to fix old things that aren't really that interesting, or maybe that kind of felt like it been left behind. This thermite grenade, for example, is one that for a long time was pretty useless. But there is like, if we put up in a lot of work into it and maybe like remake functions, add ammunition, which we have done also to like the recoilless and the autocannon, etc. But there is some time needed to do that, which means that there's less time for us to do new things. So there's a question of like, how much do you want to just improve old thing versus like you could take that time and make a new thing does that. You also want to, some guns are fun to have like flexibility in, but you don't want to make a gun that does everything, because then you don't need to bring another gun and you got everything in one. Because it's a game of having tools. It's like how good you are is kind of like what kind of toolbox do you construct? Do you know what you'll be facing, what challenges you're gonna have, what team you have, and like what's your combined toolbox, what's your personal toolbox? And if too many weapons are like Swiss Army knives, then you just bring that. Plus, if you make like a grenade launcher, if you take the standard grenade launcher and give it like, oh, here's every type of different grenade, then we also can't make another grenade launcher, because then this one does it all. And then you also kind of lose identity. It's like, is this a normal grenade launcher? Is this a sci-fi grenade launcher? Is it what kind of thing is it? Is it everything? Because an everything sandwich is kind of like a nothing sandwich. It's like has no real identity. It's just like a bunch of stuff crammed into one. But we have some old Warbonds that are a bit lagging behind. It will require some thought process to like, okay, how do we make this interesting? We don't want to just, buff it so it's just the best Warbond. I mean, Democratic Detonation went from being one of the worst, if not the worst, to be basically the best. And that's one way of doing it, but we don't want to get into like this buffing war and then like everything is incredibly good and now we just increase the power level of the whole game. And then you will have other Warbonds that are lagging behind. So it's something we're constantly looking at it. We are constantly trying to get everything into a similar like viability level that you want to bring, that you basically, no matter what you take, you're not like making a bad decision. The decision should be what toolbox are you building, and is everything a good tool for solving a specific problem? A long answer to, and I probably missed some of the question there even.
I think a great answer, and I think we definitely appreciate your transparency. So thank you for that. Moving on, Strider of Valor asks, my broad question is more of a blanket of things, but mainly from the 60-day patch to the Eruptor, Ultimatum, and now Coyote and future balancing patch coming, what principles and communication methods do you all desire to improve and ensure in communication to the Helldiver community is clear, honest, and transparent? Good
question. So I think first we have to start with establishing like what are we doing, why are we doing it. So when we change something, people need to know why. Like if they know what we're aiming for, then they can say like, ah, you're hitting that target. If they don't know what we're aiming for, then they will set up their own target and say, well, you're missing my target. And then they'll be unhappy with it. So when it comes to all of those things, we're just like, oh, they, at some point in time, either when they were introduced or at some point, they were like, we toned them down a little bit. Kind of almost needed a whiteboard, but I don't have one. I'll use interpretive. I'll use interpretive dance instead. So basically, we've gotten to a place where us, and I think the majority of the community agrees, it's like this kind of power level is like, now we're happy. Here the game feels good. It seems to make sense. We're having a good time. At 60-day patch or before it, we were like, the game versus what you can do felt like you were a little bit underpowered, and we bumped it up a bit, and then like people are like, yeah, this is better. Like it would feel better. We don't know exactly what you're aiming for yet, but this is better. And at a certain point, we feel like we got kind of close to at around where we are now. It's like there are some bumps, but like the power level is roughly like in a good place, and we can shake hands with the community and be like, yes, the game experience here is good. If we get stuff that pop up from this, like, oh, the Master Blaster 2000 is like incredibly better than all the other weapons, then you get like, using that one, everything else might feel worse, but also you're kind of playing another game. Like here's the game that you're playing that's above everyone else where you can do more. And some people will be like, yes, that's the game I want to play. Why take that away from me? But then we'll also have like, some people don't want that. They want to use the other stuff. And if you come into a lobby and players are like, here we're going for it. Difficulty 10, like doing everything, having a breeze, destroying predator strain, everything. Then they will say, oh, you joined the lobby, take the Master Blaster 2000. And he's like, no, I don't want to play with that. And they say, well, then you're gone, kick. Like we had in the beginning of the game with like, oh, you didn't bring a railgun to the lobby, and then you got kicked because they're like, oh no, you're just making bad choices. There was some indication of that during the prime era of the Incendiary Breaker 2. And then you get like, now we start getting a separation of community where some players say like, no, we're playing on this power level. The rest of the weapons and gear are on this power level. We want to be up here. And then maybe some people are like, oh, we play with the Constitution and they're playing down here. The Constitution is kind of a meme weapon anyway, but the more separations you get, like you kind of get a divide in the player base. They start fighting with each other. We kind of want everyone to be like, I'll take the stuff that I want to play with, and everyone else is like, yeah, cool, that's good, because everything kind of works. So that's why we don't want too many like, oh, you must have this thing. It's like, oh, we're playing the automatons, bring the ultimatum to destroy stratagem jammers, and bring this thing to destroy that. And like, this is a must-have when playing on this difficulty against these things, because you also created a very repetitive gameplay where you just like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff that you must play with. So your gameplay experience also keep becoming the same all of the time. And then you get tired of the game because you say like, oh, I want to play the game optimally, but there's maybe only one way to do that. Then that's how you will play. And then the kind of game that we built where you just have a big toolbox, just like, well, for you, there's not a big toolbox. There's just a small toolbox, which you will get tired of. And those players might go then, well, bring everything else up. So I can play my power game, my like bigger power fantasy than everyone else power fantasy. And then we just brought everyone up there, and then we keep bringing it up. And after a while, we just have to like, hey, I guess we need to buff the enemies too. And then we just keep getting higher and higher numbers for no apparent reason. Because at some point we have to say like, game is good here, shake hands. And I think we kind of are around there. with some nooks and crannies. But that's what we're trying to achieve, and it's because of all the things that happens when you don't achieve it, which is not immediate and understandable for everyone, because they might just see, well, for me that doesn't matter. It might matter for others, and it might matter for the community as a whole, because you might all only notice it when the community turns toxic. And then you say, it used to be a good community here, but now it's just toxic. I'ma leave. And maybe you didn't understand why it turned toxic. And we're trying to always figure this out. And not saying we have all the answers, but we're trying to make sure this doesn't happen as best as we can.
I think that was a fantastically in-depth answer, and I'm sure people are going to be very grateful, and we'll probably follow up with lots more questions, which is a good thing for the next time we're chatting.
Yeah, I expect this ongoing conversation for a long time.
Ongoing conversations are the best. Strider of Valor does go on to say, I want to add that I deeply respect you and every dev that works on this game, and I highly value your principles of family and aiming not to have a meta, but a variety of fantasies players can play. Thank you for all your tireless work and effort you have done to continually make such a great game.
Oh, thank you. He also brings up a good point there with all the fantasies. We try to deliver a lot of those, and that is also the thing. Meta usually works against you wanting to play your fantasy, because meta constrict your choices, and he puts out a great point there. We want you to have many different cool experiences in this game, and all being equally viable.
Moving swiftly forward, we have a question from the Gundam Boy. Is there any plan to make the mechs we have last longer in the field, being able to fix and supply it to last in the field? What upgrades can we expect to see?
So we have plans. We are looking at extending like vehicle gameplay. Like people remember from playing the first game, we had loads of more vehicles. Not saying we necessarily will bring back all of them, but you know, it would be fun to bring back some of them and kind of extend how much you can do with vehicles, and all the like nooks and crannies of it, like can you reload stuff, can you repair stuff, not guaranteeing that you will be able to, because they kind of work as like a what's it called, like a temporary almost buff. It's all like they throw in vehicles, they expect them to break, run out of ammo, like should you take care of it or just get a new one? Like it's the wasteful economy type of thing. But we are definitely experimenting a bit with that. I'm not going to make any promises, but there's a lot of people in the studio that also wants that kind of stuff. So if we can make good gameplay with it, we will definitely look into it.
Awesome. Next question for you, Niklas, comes from Dr. Poop Love. Are there any plans to buff the one true flag? As much as it can be a morale booster, it would be cool if it had some sort of team buff or area buff applied to users near a planted flag.
We're trying to keep the game pretty grounded in terms of what you see and understand, and not too much hidden stuff, or that most of the game plays in the HUD or the UI. I know we have some like effects that you kind of have to know. Like you have the Democracy Protects armor, which is it's plot armor, we call it. That's the funny stuff with it. But it's a little bit magic. So the question is like, would the one true flag have an effect like that? How would you show it? We don't want to put weird markers in the game that would break the immersion. So we're not really actively looking at it, because you know, it's the one true flag. It's the flag, and it's also just the flag. It's not a magic flag. It should raise your morale anyway when you're there as a player. But we don't want to do too much of this, like, oh, it's a cool thing, and now you have like effects that you don't really understand why there is like that effects exist. You could argue, as that's why I brought it up, like Democracy Protects has kind of like a magic effect almost. But I'm not sure I want to do the one true flag into maybe a competitive option. It's more like, you want to bring a flag? Here's a flag. Like, is it good to bring a flag into a war zone? Maybe not. It's maybe not your first weapon of choice, charging the enemy lines. Not saying no though. Like, if we get something that makes sense and is fun, maybe someone in the community might have a great idea for it, and then we read it and just like, yeah, that would actually be awesome. But then I won't say no to do it. Like, this is not a hill I'm dying on in any way.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
If you have that idea of how we involve that with the one true flag, open for it, and we'll pick it up next time. Moving on, we have some questions from the community now. Will we have missions where we fight alongside the SEAF on an offensive or defensive, pretty much trench war conflicts, or fighting alongside the main bulk of SEAF troops?
It's one of the things of like the universe kind of puts it out there that this should be able to happen. Because you have the super armed forces in the game, you have the Helldivers. Should that be able to happen at some point? Yeah, probably. Do we know exactly when? Maybe internally, but or if we even are gonna do it. But it's one of those things, like when you look at the universe and the promise of the Helldivers universe, we want to, at some point in time, be able to deliver most of the things that the universe promises. So, maybe.
Feeling pretty good about that answer right there. Goes on to ask, any plans for increasing the max level past 150? I think you get this question all the time.
I do. At some point, most likely. I mean, why not?
Again, just dropping truths here. I love it.
Yeah.
How long did it take y'all to settle on a Hive lore design for HD2?
Honestly, not long at all. It was surprisingly simple to do. Like, not simple to do, but to say like, we want this. It was, some people got like a bit of sweat when they started seeing the scale that we brought it up to. And just like, guys, what about, performance? And what about, will everything break? And like, how does the game handle this? We solved all of that, but we also said like, if we can't get it this big and this crazy, then we shouldn't do it. And then we just worked from there. But no, we were all aligned pretty fast.
Quick alignment, that's a good sign. Ask the question, you asked us to get back with you on the question of silencers working as intended. So I'm asking, are silencers working as intended? Will we get silencers that work like the game silencers?
So they're actually pretty much where they should be at the moment. In the latest patch, we got some functionality in where if you, for example, you use a suppressed weapons and you miss the enemy, they don't immediately react, which I'm not sure if we mentioned that actually, but they do have a smaller radius of sound to attract enemies and they don't immediately alert them if you miss. They still alert them if you hit. But, you know, this is part of, I guess here we kind of come into a bit of Hollywood movies versus reality. We have suppressors. A suppressor is still an impressive amount of decibels when they shoot. They're not silenced. You can't do in movies, oh, they run around in like amongst people and shoot suppressors. It's just like, no, they're still over 100 decibels. Like it's not a silent weapon. It is less loud than a non-suppressed weapon, but that's how suppressors work. We take great detail in weapon mechanics and like how all of these things work, as you can see in our weapons in our game. And it would also be weird if we like, oh no, this weapon's actually like fully silent. Like there's no weapon that's the most silent weapon you have is the throwing knives. Those are silent.
Wind resistance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
If you want a fully silenced weapon, yeah, like throw a rock or something, or a knife. But yeah, so I guess it is like normally what people compare it to is silenced weapons in other games, or usually stealth games. And you get some of that. Then we can talk about in our game, what is the noise level that a suppressed weapon should be. Maybe it carries a bit too far at the moment. Maybe we need to tone it down a little bit. We have like put it more silenced than it probably should be in terms of realism, but we're not doing pure realism. So, but maybe we should take it further. Like the community can also tell us here, like instead of asking, for example, like, oh, are they where we intended to be? Like they are, but is that good enough? It's like, because you can tell us like, I don't feel like I can do this with it. I expect to be able to do this, but I can't because this thing keeps happening. And do you expect a fully silent weapon, or do you expect an actual suppressed weapon? And then I also know that like maybe not everyone has fired a suppressed weapon, so they don't know what to expect in terms of realism, and they can only go about like what comes out of Hollywood, and where should we be in that scale. So because if it's not fun to play with, we should probably adjust until it is fun to play with. But it can't be broken in terms of game mechanics.
A very good answer. Thank you so much. Asks, question, what is your favorite faction to fight?
Automatons. Easy answer. It's just
why?
Why? I don't know. It feels like the proper, the masochistic, hiding behind the rock. Everything explodes around me. The kind of the PTSD, depressions is kicking in, and just like it's okay. I like the way this suck. I'm one of those. So I don't know, and I like the aesthetics and the feeling that I get of just like this is like Terminator Future War, and the feeling of being like a human in a war that will just destroy you, and the enemy is actually like red eyes, evil clankers. I don't know. It's one of those like enough childhood memories kind of builds up into the person you are today, and it kind of jams with me. For maybe a psychologist can explain it to me one day why I find that a nice feeling, but you know.
We'll dive into that next time.
Yeah, exactly.
Asks, how do you decide how much damage a weapon does, and what makes it light, mid, heavy, pen?
So the armor penetration is maybe the easiest to answer, which is it comes with the expectation and believability, which isn't not necessarily realism, but we wouldn't put like a small caliber weapon to have heavy pen or something. It just wouldn't be believable in the universe that we're painting up and the one you're acting in. So often it comes with like what makes sense for it to be armor penetration wise, and then we kind of balance it from there, because the weapon comes with like a promise and a fantasy tied together with it. And if you would have like a really high caliber, like let's say the anti-material rifle would have light pen, that would be like, that's ridiculous. Of course it wouldn't. It's an anti-material rifle and it's high caliber, a lot of punching power and everything. So we go from there, what makes sense and what feels good. And then when it comes to damage, here it's a little bit more fluent, but we also can't do like, oh, this sounds, feels, and looks like it would do a lot of damage. We can't just balance it by saying, yeah, but it has a large magazine, so it does little damage or something. Then we will look at other factors like how much ammunition does it have? How many magazines does it have? What's the reload time? How's the ergonomics? How's the sway? And spread and drag, stuff like that. So it's about fulfilling the fantasy that comes with the weapon first and foremost, and then you kind of balance the other factors around it. It could also be that just someone proposes like, oh, this is a great fantasy with this type of weapon, then it comes with a magazine of 300 bullets. Each bullet does immense amounts of damage, explodes, and it's also very light, so and then we were just like, okay, let's not do that weapon. That just sounds like an everything weapon. And we don't want to do something that is just like better than any other weapon in the game in all fields. So it's also a little bit of just, you can't just do anything and then just balance it based on that. Sometimes you also have to choose what to do. Same thing as like if we would do a tank, we can't balance it by not being sturdy. Or like not have a cannon or something. It's like the fantasy comes with a certain thing attached to it, and then you work from there. Or you say, oh, if this thing comes in here and it has to fulfill these things, then you ask yourself the question, is this something we put in the game or not? Long answer, but yeah.
But a good one. Asks, how do you guys decide on a theme for a new Warbond?
Good question, chaotic answer, because it's a chaotic process. So it's a complicated process that sometimes starts with like you put 10 hours with 10 people to throw stuff at the wall, and then when you're out to lunch and someone just sits there, eats a burger and just like, wait a minute, isn't this a great idea? And you're like, God damn it, you're right. That's the best idea I've ever heard. Scrap everything, which has happened a couple of times. And this you go with same thing like when you do an ideation process like this, like no idea is a bad idea, because enough bad ideas rolled coming from each other can eventually lead to a good idea. So you just go into every idea rabbit hole that you've ever had, and then eventually, hopefully, something pops up, which is if you just have a bunch of people that are varied enough, but and have some similar traits, the similar understanding is basically the game. Like, do they understand what's Helldivers? What are we doing here as a company? And then do they have all the different backgrounds and seen all the movies, etc.? So it can come from anywhere.
Well, I can say that we're very grateful for all the awesome Warbonds, and I know that you and the team are cooking up lots more for us to see very, very soon. So for now, we're going to say thank you so much. You will return. You will be back here again asking more questions. So let us know what you'd like Niklas to answer next time. Anything you'd like to wrap up before we release you into the wild?
Just keep asking questions. Like, some people think like, oh, we're like, do we like when the community always like has ideas or poses questions to us, or if you're upset or if you're happy, like all of it means you just care. So just keep it coming, and also keep it civil, preferably, and constructive, because it also means that more of you from the community will have more to go on. You can discuss a lot among yourselves. We'll be listening, we'll be reading, and
We'll be answering.
And we'll be answering. Yeah. So it's just like, as long as there's constantly communication going on in this, I'm perfectly happy. You don't have to be happy in the community, and then all I can ask is just like, tell us why you're not happy, and we can see if there's something we can do for you.
There's definitely stuff we can do. Thank you again, Niklas. Thank you very much, Zelda. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.